3 months after Hurricane Sandy, most New Yorkers have recovered. But in one neighborhood, the crisis is getting worse. This is one of the areas hardest hit by the storm. This is one of the poorest neighborhoods in America. This is Far Rockaway. Over half of the public housing projects in Queens are located here. Already in poor shape before the storm, Sandy has turned these buildings into a major health hazard.
In a recent survey, 60% of residents reported mold in their homes.
Moisture is everywhere, reaching into the upper stories. Sandy has accelerated the decay of lead paint and corroded pipes, contaminating the air and the water.
We've been having, patients come in with full body rashes after taking a shower. So it's like, what does that say about our water system?
The bathtub has been backed up since Sandy. Fumes started coming out. Me and my daughter had to be rushed to the hospital. They taped over the hole and said they would come back, and I haven't heard from anybody.
2 weeks after the storm had hit, I went into an apartment. It was an apartment with 14 people in it, 7 of them kids under the age of 5. And 2 weeks later, they were still sleeping in beds that were wet. Water was still seeping up in their floors. The parents were sleeping on mildewed bed. One of the children had a fever of 103. I had to say in my mind, am I in America right now?
The New York City Housing Authority, who is responsible for providing and maintaining public housing, has been slow to act.
2 months after Sandy, in the dead of winter, 29% of residents still had no heat.
NYCHA has sent some cleanup crews, but they are far from enough.
This is what it looks like after NYCHA clean. This looked like, it was a fire in here, and it was no fire. This is just mold. And now they want to just paint over the apartment. That's not going to help anything. It's just going to grow back. Can you smell it?
Prolonged exposure to mold can cause asthma and respiratory illnesses in otherwise healthy children, but it's just one of the many problems that NYCHA has neglected in the projects for decades.
A lot of the issues that were there before are still there and are exacerbated since Sandy struck. It's peeling paint, it's burst pipes in the wall.
We have to tie bags onto these pipes to keep water from leaking down on you.
Broken windows, broken appliances, bad water. It's just overall living conditions, things that would be intolerable in any other development that NYCHA's been getting away with for years.
Meanwhile, FEMA has systematically withheld aid from this community.
There's an automatic clause in FEMA to where you deny folks who are on welfare automatically. Then you make them go fill out a small business loan, whereas if you could qualify for a small business loan, you wouldn't have to be on welfare.
People always suspected that the government didn't have their back, and I think they finally got that confirmation.
Where the government has fallen short, local community organizations, like the Action Center, have struggled to fill the gap. But with few resources, it's an uphill.
Occupy Sandy linked up with existing community centers, like the Action Center in Rockaway. Even a month after the storm, lines for aid go around the block.
We knew if we weren't here, nobody else was coming. In this community, 65% live 200% below poverty levels. So you have the inherent disease, you have the inherent drugs, you have the inherent crime that comes with poverty and living in a third world situation in an affluent country. So we knew nobody was coming. It's typical. The Action Center is based on a premise that all parents want the same thing for their children, regardless of economic status, circumstances. We formed the Action Center 12 years ago, my husband and I. We took our 401k, everything, and put it towards the Action Center. We started it with 2 of us in the basement. We've had upwards of 75 employees, helped 55,000 families, 5,000 kids specifically. And we've had buildings and programs throughout the whole peninsula. We must have given out, 800 or 900 today, I would assume. Water is filled here, and then the diapers, the life-giving diapers, baby formula. Occupy Sandy, I didn't know what Occupy Sandy was. There are people I don't even know that have reached out and have helped us. There were Brooklyn moms who heard about the babies in wet diapers 2 weeks later and wet beds and all the who are like us, frontline soldiers that are standing in the gaps between the have and have-nots, between resource and services, and linking them up.
A lot of people don't put a lot of effort into this community, being that it's low income. We asked for a respiratory mask, and we got it a month later. But they had it down here, and, 30 blocks away, they had it. So what makes us so different?
Thank God for the sister. Thank God for the nurse. Thank God for my friends. And people you come outside and you talk to. When you go to bed at night, don't have no food. All your food in the refrigerator. You got to throw it out. All the food in your freezer, you got to throw it out. But thank God to the sister. I know how she feels. Because it's very depressed. And right now, I still don't have no phone in my house. To talk to nobody. And you like 250 minutes they give you, and you run that out talking. And when you see people, my neighbor calls, and you be so glad to talk to people. And I don't know about nobody else. It was very depressing. Very depressing.
You shouldn't have to choose whether you're going to get your medication or you're going to feed your kids. I had a resident that passed away last week. They called me and said a lady fainted outside. I went out there and she was, basically knocked out, but she had a strong pulse. And her family was hysterical. And I kept saying, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. They said that she was complaining of chest. Now, 30 minutes later, her sister called and told me that she passed away. And it's hard. That's what we were trying to avoid. And we couldn't avoid it. Everyone says it's not your fault, but it's hard when you can't, help everyone. And I can help her. But I gotta tell you, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. I live on the second floor, and we lost power, we lost food, but I still have me. I still have my children. And when I say this center helped me keep a peace of mind, people just don't understand. They had all kinds of things to say, all these people on the line, they just trying to get what they can get, and on these lines, I talk to people, some single moms, some that lost their jobs, some that are just trying to come out and get a peace of mind. It's not just me. It's not just me. I'm not the only one going through some stuff. Kids. We have gotten things and taken them to people that can't come out their houses. Older people, people with kids. My family would not even come here on certain days. But I found family here. On the best of days, I found out 2 years ago that I have diabetes. And on the best of days, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was not. I came here. This young lady right here. She got my medication. Because I didn't have medical coverage anymore. My sugar level is leveled now. I'm paying attention. We had vitamins for my kids. People just don't understand. They see stuff on the TV and they're like, oh, those bums, they don't want to, you just don't understand. Unless you've been here, unless you've been in the trenches, you just don't understand. But here they understand.
I had mad damages, mad destroy everything. I lost my car, everything. And they've been promised what they're going to do for me, but they still never did nothing. Just like I said, the only one that helped me since all this right here is Miss Bell. That's the only one. Nobody else. And me and my family still going through it.
You open up, when you tell a story, a long time ago, my grandmother told me this. You tell a story to somebody and you could save a life. You understand? Because if you say something, somebody's going to say, wow, I go through that too. If it's just one person, you tell a story to and you save a life, you've done something that day. And today I feel so blessed. I still ain't got a job.
I still don't have a job, but I have a blessed, and I am blessed. And because I can open my eyes today, and, like there's a future, you know, like things are going to happen. Things are going to be okay. So, like, I'm crying, but I'm not sad. You understand what I'm saying? Like, whew, like I feel so good about me. Things are not like I wanted them to be, but they're not like they were. You know, every day gets better. Gotta keep the center open. It's not even a center, it's these people. Mrs. Hope, Mr. Hope. They've heard my mouth a couple of times, and they're just here. Day in, day out. The people that, my kids have pen pals from New Zealand. These people left their countries. They didn't just leave their boroughs. They left their countries, and they came here and they said, I love you. And I believed it. You know, my babies, I teach them to go volunteer because we got it bad, but we don't have it as bad as it could be. Other people are worse. Like, I just can't say enough about unity. I cannot say enough about when you don't have and you help the next person. Wow. You get rich in so many ways. I'm telling you, man, I love this place. I love the place. I love the people. Even the people I don't like, I love them. You understand what I'm saying? Because they teach me and they teach my babies. It's just, I can't say enough about this place. You have to keep it going. You have to keep it going. You have to continue to educate people on whatever, medical, how to cook properly, you know, how to avoid that depression. Sometimes it just tries to suck you down, but you just got to rise above it. You just got to keep on rising above it, because if you see another day, you can make it better. Thank you.
Before you go to the next person, we actually have a good thing that came out of this. Can you tell us?
About that I have medical coverage now?
Yes.
Yes, I have medical
Oh,
coverage
good.
now. But before that, I was just saying, like, diabetic medicine is very expensive.
Yeah.
This girl got me my medication. You understand? This woman got me my medication. This place, friggin' amazing.
The water, we live on the first floor. I live on the first floor, so the water came up. The sewer came up with the water. So it was like, we had the sewer backed up during our home. We had roaches and everything. It was disgusting. Then, like, we went upstairs to a neighbor's house. The water started getting higher. So we had this, me, you know, my mom-in-law, my father-in-law, my sisters and brothers-in-law, and we have all together 6 kids. So it's 2 babies and up to 5 years old. So it's like hard because, you know, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law are sick. They lost their medicine. They lost everything. It was bleeding. She was bleeding. That's my mother-in-law, actually. So she was bleeding to her nose, her mouth. It was hard to see, you know. My father-in-law just came out of a coma, you know, and he had to come home to this. Like, it was hard, you know. The kids were so sick. My niece to this day she gets fevers, you know. She was getting fevers and there was no help at the time. Before the center opened, it just happened. So it was like no medical, you know, everything was shut down. And then that's when the center opened, the community center. And I was online one day and then I met Miss Doe. And then, you know, I was like, met Miss Doe and she was like, yeah, how you doing? You know, I told her, you know, I lived on the first floor and how I needed some help. She was like, yeah, so I came here and started like volunteering off and on. And I met a lot of people. I met Bethany here. She helped me out a lot too. You know, with the kids, and then Trina started working here, and she made sure that my mother-in-law kept her medicines going. My father-in-law needed medicine. If the kids needed medicine, she was there. You know, like it was a really bad experience. Like, and since it's been open, like now I work here, so I help the community out too. So I'm also working here. So I'm helping them out, but I'm very grateful for them. But it still hurts to wake up and see her bleeding every day. You know. see my kids, my nieces and nephews sick every other week. Rush to the hospital because of fever. We're still going through it, but we're here. That's what counts. And as long as we have the help here, that's what counts. And I'm happy we're still here. I'm happy that I'm able to help others while I'm trying to help myself and my family. We're just trying to keep, we're a big family, so we're keeping each other up. We're keeping each other close, and ever since then, the community's calmed down a lot. It used to be bad, but now it's calmed down. So I hope they can stay here because we need them.
We live in the United States, and our citizens should not be lacking like this.
These are Americans living in third world conditions. They have nowhere else to go.
Folks need alternative housing. Apartments must be cleaned. It must be made safe and sanitary for our residents to live in. And it has to be done now.
The alternative is to wait, to let the problems grow worse, to watch American kids grow up in a decaying slum, drinking dirty water and breathing contaminated air.
Now's the time for all of us to look in the mirror and find our humanity regardless of who we are or what title's in front of our name, because we do have an opportunity to make a difference here.